Okay, hello, 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 hello. How are y'all doing? Hello. Hope y'all are doing good. It is Jupiter day, technically Friday, and it's a Venus hour. It's about 9 to 1 a.m. So on August 9th. So I hope everybody's August 8th was eventful or not. Hope you had a good August 8th, whether you celebrate the Lionsgate portal or not. There was a lot of divisiveness, is what I saw on social media, so I did not participate much today. And yeah, it is it used to be an astrological, it still is an astrological phenomenon when the Sun and Sirius meet up at 13 degrees Cancer. But that's already passed. That was July, I think it was around July 9th or 10th. But the significance of the Lionsgate portal is the number 8. And so there's, from what I've gathered, it's a new age, I guess you would call it a new age event. And it's a blending of different beliefs. So, it's, nothing to lose sleep over. Every day you can set your intentions and envision and visualize and manifest and meditate on how you want to see your place in this world. And you can do that with any day. So yeah, it's a relatively modern spiritual concept. It doesn't necessarily have deep roots in any specific ancient culture, but it is symbolic to the star Sirius, which has connections to Egyptian cosmology. So, you can, ask ChatGPT, which cultures did the celebration of the Lionsgate portal begin? Or you can ask, what is attributed to the confusion? So what I asked was, what is attributed to the confusion around the validity of the Lionsgate portal? And there's astrological discrepancies, historical and cultural origins, misinterpretation of symbolism, variations in beliefs, social media amplification, skepticism of New Age concepts, and lack of consistent consensus. So, in summary, the Lionsgate portal on August 8th stems from astrological debates, the modern and symbolic nature of the concept, varying interpretations, and the influence of social media, all contributing to its mixed reception and the uncertainty surrounding its validity. So the last thing that we really need around this is, name calling. It's enough divisiveness without this, and so, in my opinion, let people who believe it, and those who don't. And I understand the misinformation, but we can communicate that in a way that is not calling the event bullshit or calling people who believe it psychotic or whatever. And that's, even in the New Age or spiritual community, it's disheartening to see this kind of divisiveness over an event that's supposed to be, energetically positive. So, the irony in it is just, I don't know, it's kind of messed up. And sometimes I think it's is this another one of those planned, staged things that have been meant to divide people? Is this one of those things, is this one of those man-made debates intended to divide even the, spiritual teachers or spiritual-minded people? So anyway, it is now August 9th, 8/9, and it is a Libra moon. So yeah, the moon is right around the south node of Libra. So anyway, so there's a lot going on next week. Like this week is pretty chill for the most part, but I feel like it's like the calm before the storm. That's where there's like more going on in the sky to pay attention to than, I mean, there's like, yeah, there's a lot going on. What has been happening? So currently the Libra South node at is it at 8 degrees? It's the nodes wobble, so they're always like going forward and like retrograding, so they're always like going back and forth. Right now it's at 9 degrees. So it's like going back and forth between 8 and 9, which is right around the south node of Venus. And so I think I've mentioned before planetary nodes and how each planet, in addition to the moon, has a north and south node. So the north node of Venus, the planet of love, beauty, art, relating, money, values, is at 27 Cancer is the north node, and the south node of Venus is at 8 degrees Libra. So a lot of the nodes are opposite from each other, but I've mentioned how not all of them are. Some of them are even in the same sign. Some of them are even in the same sign, but in the case of Venus, they are each in cardinal signs. The south node is in Libra and the north node is in Cancer, and they're not even at the same degrees. So the south node is at 8 degrees, which is a Scorpio degree. It's the 8th sign. Scorpio is 8th sign, so 8 is related to Scorpio. And then the north node of Venus is 27 Cancer, and 27 is connected to Gemini. 24, yeah. So it's a Gemini degree in the sign of Cancer, and that is the Venus north node. So I thought that was interesting. So we're like doubling down on releasing those codependent relationships, whether those relationships are with a spouse, a partner, a job, parents, a system, government, a boss. It could be your relationship to material things, relationship to money, relationship to anything that we have attached ourselves to. We are doubling down on letting go of those things. And so yeah, the Libra part of our chart is going to be lit up in a few months. Right now the Black Moon Lilith is also conjunct the South Node, and Black Moon Lilith is the energy of Black Moon Lilith is the dark side of the moon, so the lesser known, lesser desirable traits of Libra, like superficiality, or like using people, is like a Black Moon Lilith in Libra kind of energy. And everybody has Black Moon Lilith in their chart, so there's always going to be a dark side, of each sign, and it's that feeling of like overcompensating and feeling insecure, or having the feeling of being rejected or persecuted or shunned for exhibiting those archetypes or characteristics. And so Black Moon Lilith is with the South Node. They were conjunct. Black Moon Lilith is at 7 degrees, and like I said, the nodes wobble, so it'll like go back to 8 degrees. And Black Moon Lilith can catch up to the South Node as well. And you might have experienced this kind of energy even more today or yesterday, since the moon was also in Libra, which also kind of like adds to that energy. So other than that, it's been a pretty chill week as far as planetary transits go. But next week is going to be another story. Mercury is retrograde. It went retrograde on the 4th, and it's still in Virgo. It's traveling back to Leo and will re-enter Leo on the 14th. It's at 3 degrees now. It just came into a conjunction with Venus. So, like, you know, Venus is connected to relationships. And, you know, Venus in Virgo is all about being of service and really wanting to improve, like really seeking those acts of service in order to improve a situation. And so Mercury conjunct Venus, I like, in my own experience, my personal experience, it's been like a intense, you know, like very Virgo energy can be very detail oriented and like wanting to or having the tendency to like pay attention to all the details, all the fine print, you know, making sure everything is just right. And so with these two, Venus and Mercury in a conjunction in Virgo, you know, with Mercury being retrograde, it could be like correcting forms, correcting your status, correcting, you know, relationships, and yeah, it's very, and it's in a square to, well, I mean, it's not at the exact degree, but it's squaring the energies of Gemini, which Mars and Jupiter are in. And Mars and Jupiter are 2 degrees away from each other right now. Jupiter is at 15 degrees and Mars is at 13. And so this is incredible, like, erratic energy. This is the type of energy that can, like, really be divisive. It can be super triggering. Like this is Mars is a very willful and aggressive energy on its own, and then Jupiter is the energy of expansion. It's also blessings and knowledge and higher learning. But when these two energies combine, it's like full throttle ahead. And I was listening to Maurice Fernandez, who is like one of the veteran astrologers, who is brilliant at describing these kind of energies and how they relate to us personally. And was it Maurice Fernandez? It might have been Maurice Fernandez or oh my gosh, Ariel Gutman, who was describing this energy as being like connected to holy wars or spiritual wars. It could be a surge of energy, like manic risk. There's a risk of bulldozing, uncompromising, and this is interesting energy because it's creating this big square, T-square with Virgo, and also the planets in Pisces, which is Saturn and Neptune. So right now we don't have anything in Sagittarius, but in a couple days we're going to have the moon in Sagittarius, which will oppose Mars and Jupiter in Gemini, and it will come into squares with Venus and Virgo. What is that? So yeah, when when the moon enters Sagittarius, it'll be the same day that Mars and Jupiter come into an exact conjunction at 16 degrees. And it will also be when Mercury re-enters Leo, so because it's going backwards, and it will also be square to Venus at 11 degrees. So we've got like these double squares, double mutable squares, And then we have Saturn at 17 degrees squaring Mars and Jupiter in Gemini. And so with all this mutable energy, mutable energies are all about seeking other options. Like Virgo wants to find ways to improve things. Sagittarius wants to take off to another land. Like also seek truth. Like there's a truth-seeking energy with Sagittarius and Pisces. They're both ruled by Jupiter. Jupiter is all about higher learning and wisdoms. It can also be very dogmatic, and it's related to churches as well, like teachings. And then Gemini and Virgo are ruled by Mercury. So we've got two signs that are ruled by Mercury and two signs that are ruled by Jupiter. And Mercury is retrograde, and Jupiter is conjunct Mars. So this is a pretty intense energy. It's really wanting us to explore and share information and really go for it. But at the same time, there's a restriction with Saturn and Pisces that's asking us to make sure that we keep our cool, temper any kind of excessive talking, excessive energy. We have to really stay grounded and keep our wits about us, but also use our words carefully. And this is a important time. It's a really sensitive, potent time to watch our words, because words are wands. And I think I might have mentioned this. I'm not sure if I mentioned it here or in my newsletter. I know I mentioned it in my newsletter, but there's a book by Florence Scovel Shinn who wrote Your Word is Your Wand. And so I feel like that's really relevant right now. And it's not even just your words, but it's everything that you take in, whether it's visually, audibly, your food that you take in, everything that you absorb, you become. And one of the quotes from her book is, "You combine with what you notice." And so right now, with all of the information that's going on, there's so much to report on, so many events happening that are just what WTF. We have to be careful with what we invest our attention and energy into, because with Neptune also at the last degree of Pisces, at 29 degree Pisces, that lends to far out illusions and performances, just very unbelievable, just make believe, imagination. It can be used for good or for bad. Of course, there's a high vibe, low vibe, light and shadow. There's the light side and the shadow side of each sign, and that includes Pisces. And at 29 degrees, it's the extreme energy of that. And so I haven't been on, social media too much. I kind of post and leave. But the things that I have been coming across, it's really shocking. I know there was a tragic event. I think it was in Tennessee, and I saw footage. There was some body cam footage of these two white cops entering a African American female's home, and she had called the cops, right, to help her because she heard something and wasn't sure if it was an intruder, and she was wearing a white long gown. And just the way the dialogue went, I couldn't really, it just seemed like they were kind of B-rated actors that were given this script last minute, maybe, and it didn't sound authentic. And if I am wrong, I apologize. It is not meant to trigger, of course, any kind of crime, especially when we have that narrative of cops being unnecessarily violent against anybody, like particularly a black person, and then like in this case a black female, like that's gonna piss anybody off, like, and that's one of the narratives that can induce and spark and perpetuate this negative energy that is being harvested. So we, point being, like, we have to be careful with what we take in, like the information that we invest our energy into, and what we share. Like, these events are tragic, absolutely, no doubt, and raising awareness is one thing, but it's another thing to, like, perpetuate that energy, because what we focus on, where our energy flows, energy goes. What is that saying? What is that saying? How does... Where attention goes, energy flows. So we have to be careful with where we are giving our attention. We have to be careful with where we are giving our attention, because that's where the energy flows, and like, we just perpetuate that kind of energy. And right now, like I said, with Jupiter and Mars in Gemini, we have to take advantage of this energy and use it in a way that we want to see for the future. It's a very potent energy to manifest right now, and we're going to see this in not just, our personal lives and wanting to manifest and seeing angel numbers and being validated, and, having all these magical things happen synchronistically, but we're going to be utilizing these, like, languages. We're going to be relearning these languages and codes and apply them to our mundane life, and, like, paying bills, like, even in the bills that we receive, like how we have itemized bills, and like we have a portion of the bill where we're supposed to return to the corporation. There's so many hidden codes in the language that's used in the terms and conditions. And so it's going to be really important for us to learn those codes, these universal commercial codes. They're going to have a whole new meaning to us in the coming months, years, like with all these squares to the mutable signs, like including, there's going to be a lot of information that will be revealed. And January, I think it's around end of January 2025, the nodes are going to shift. The nodes are going to shift, and the North Node will be in Pisces, and the South Node will be in Virgo. And Virgo is connected to being of service, our employees, our health, health food stores, the service industry, subtenant statuses, renting, pets, analysis, chess, and it can also, on the shadow side of Virgo, this can symbolize individuals who serve within societal structures, often without recognition or power. Servitude, where individuals are bound by duties that limit their autonomy, which is pretty much how we have been programmed to survive in this modern day for the past several generations. And on an even darker side of Virgo, there's the representation of exploitation and the subjugation of individuals who are forced into servitude, highlighting the shadow side of Virgo's dutiful nature, aka slavery. And so when the South Node moves into Virgo next January, these themes of exploitation and subjugation of individuals who are forced into servitude, these kind of things are going to be what we will be dissolving and letting go of. You know, we have been under this, we have unwittingly agreed to this level of servitude and unknowingly like signed away our autonomy. But we can look forward to a future of sovereignty, so we're going to be getting that back. As we become more, as we educate ourselves more and become more self-reliant and less reliant on these systems, that's where the South Node in Libra is also playing a part, where we are letting go of these codependent relationships, whether it's, you know, with a partner or a job or the government. You know, like these relationships and relationships to money are going to start falling away, and they're going to be redefined. So this isn't something to be scared of. I mean, it's going to be destabilizing. You know, this is a huge shift. Like, nobody in our lifetime has ever experienced this kind of shift. So it's new to all of us, and it's exciting. You know, this is an exciting time to be aligned, and so we have to not be attached to any kind of plans right now. Like, expect the unexpected. Uranus is still in Taurus, and Uranus is going to be squaring. Who's next? Let's see. As planet, or the Sun is about to square Uranus. So the Sun currently is at 22 degrees Leo, and Uranus is at 27 degrees Taurus. And so there's going to be a lot more shakeups, a lot more destabilizing, unexpected changes to plans, to, you know, just pretty much everything, like especially related to money, the stocks. These are going to be big. And Uranus is going to retrograde. When is that? September 1st through January 30th, and it'll retrograde at 27 degrees back to 23 degrees. And so those those degrees of the fixed signs, Leo, Scorpio, Aquarius, and of course Taurus, are going to experience a sudden, unexpected event or stroke of genius, or you know, it could be, you know, depending on what you have in each of those signs, it's going to be different. So just expect the unexpected, and like, do not attach to any plans, you know. And Uranus is considered to be like the cosmic fixer, so the plans that do fall through are a blessing in disguise. Everything is a blessing in disguise at this point, because, you know, everything that's being orchestrated in the sky is really, truly, like, as it always has been, meant for our highest good. And it's really up to us to be grateful for these changes and see everything as, you know, for our highest good. And if we can stay in that energy and not be, you know, stuck in like what was or what hasn't happened yet, then we can receive the most, you know, like beyond our wildest dreams kind of blessings. So we have to stay open and trust that the universe has our back, you know, because, I mean, we're still here, you know, like, and we have nothing to fear. Fear is an illusion. Even death, like, the fear of death is this contrived story. Like, everything goes through this process, you know, plants, you know, animals, we regenerate. And so seeing death as something to be feared, of course there's going to be loss and grief and sadness, but that applies to everything, you know. Like, when you change your mind, you let go of one decision and you say hello to another, you know. So we have to look at things like this is all a perspective shift. And that's the thing with Jupiter and Mercury, like Jupiter being the ruler of Sagittarius and Pisces, and Mercury being the ruler of Gemini and Virgo. This is a perspective, like a huge perspective shift. And Jupiter is considered to be, you know, like very optimistic, and like Pisces is always wearing rose-colored glasses. And so just having the positive spin on whatever you're delivering, like, like literally or figuratively, with whether you're writing or performing or sharing information, whatever it is that you're sharing, it can be done in a way that has a positive, uplifting effect on people in the collective. And that's how we co-create, and that's how we level up and evolve. That's how our souls evolve. And that's what the universe is helping us to do by orchestrating the planets in such a way that we can, trust these placements and know that even the squares are going to bring something positive. It's like when you go to the gym and you add an extra weight plate to the bar. Each time you add a weight plate, that's like a square, because once you like work through that, then you're on to the next. You're able to like become stronger and handle, a longer run, or, whatever it might be. And so we can look at each square as, challenging and something that's going to help us get stronger, like be stronger and be able to persevere. And also squares create diamonds, or pressure creates diamonds, and so we can look at it that way as well. So right now with Mercury and Virgo, we are looking at more minutia, like there's more attention to analytics, typos, codes, language, revising processes, and then come the 14th, which is a Wednesday, it's Mercury Day, Mars will conjunct Jupiter in Gemini at 16 degrees, and it will also oppose the moon. And the moon will be at 11 degrees Sagittarius, which is the north node of Uranus. So again, Uranus, like the moon has its north and south node in Aries and Libra. In Uranus's case, the north node is in Sag, and the south node is in the opposite sign of Gemini. Wait. North node of Uranus, south node 11 Sag. Hold on. Uranus. Okay, yeah, so the south node of Uranus is 11 Sag, and then the north node of Uranus is 11 Gemini. Oh no, 17 Gemini. So yeah, they're not exactly opposite to the degree, but they are opposite by sign, which is interesting because that's where Mars and Jupiter are, and they're at 16 degrees. But so yeah, Mars and Jupiter in Gemini at 16 degrees is at the north node of Uranus, and then the moon will be traveling through Sagittarius, and the south node of Uranus is at 11 degrees Sagittarius. And so that's interesting. So this can trigger a lot of, this can trigger quite a media frenzy, because with the moon in Sag, like information is going to spread like wildfire, and whatever it is, it's important for us to, not get emotionally pulled into whatever is being shared. It is super important to be like water, be like Saturn in Pisces, and not overreact. So yeah, that's kind of, it's like 11:50 a.m. on Wednesday, August 14th is when the moon reaches 17 degrees Sagittarius. But yeah, I, like myself, will be unplugged. I think that's going to be the best thing for me to do. Of course, everybody's different. There's going to be a lot of stuff floating around in the ethers, whether it's, like misinformation or stories or like whatever it might be. It's going to be it's going to be eventful, but as far as protecting your energy, this is a day that I will not be on social media. and that's just my personal preference. And let me see if the moon will be void of course. Oh man. Will the moon be void of course? Let's see. Of course not. Now the moon will be void of course on the 15th at 4:52 p.m. I'm thinking that's universal time. So 4:52, 4, 3, 2, 1, 12, 11, 10. About 10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. 4, 3, 2, 1, 12, 11, 10, 9 a.m. on the 15th. So around 9:52 a.m. Pacific Standard Time is when the moon will be void of course on the 15th. I mean, this would be good energy to, like, especially if you're a creative, to write, journal, like be internal, not get pulled into what is going on externally. I know that's easier said than done. Maybe go out in nature if you can, but the erraticness and like the manic energy that's going to be floating around can be very unsettling. So protect your energy is basically what I'm saying. Because we've got like two malefics, Saturn and Mars, who are in a square, like Mars in Gemini and Saturn in Pisces squaring off. So Saturn wants to restrict and like is the energy of no and pulling back, and then Mars wants to go. And with Jupiter there, it's like even that much more energized and wanting to put that information out or gossip or like talk, maybe yell, whatever it is, because Mars is there. Mars is very aggressive, but definitely keep things copacetic. I would probably refrain from any foreign substances in your body, like alcohol or uppers. I mean, any kind of drugs, to be honest. But so yeah, there's a lot going on. It's kind of all over the place. So Mercury will re-enter Leo also on the 14th, around 5 p.m., 5:16 p.m. And Leo Sun 22 degrees. Virgo will be at Venus. Venus will be in Virgo at 11 degrees. And this can also be a feeling of, like right now it's a good energy to put yourself out there and create, whether it's like writing, songwriting, or any kind of, maybe poems or storytelling. Creating something instead of consuming, I think, is one of the best ways to use this energy. Because Mars, like going to the gym, maybe like working that energy off physically would be a good way to utilize this energy. Or deleting your data, getting your storage back. I don't know if it's just me. I know a lot of people have been getting the notification to buy more storage space, and it doesn't matter how much data I delete, I still get that message of needing to buy $10 worth of storage, which I don't know about that, but I guess we'll find out. Yeah, might as well, it's kind of one of those things where You have to pay to play, right? So yes, with Mercury still retrograde, it will be coming conjunct with the Sun. When is that? When does that happen? That's usually the halfway point of the Mercury retrograde cycle. And so that's going to be a few days, I think around the 19th, 18th. So on the 18th, the Sun and Mercury will be conjunct, which is also considered a cazimi. So when the planet Mercury is in the heart of the Sun, it's said to receive important messages, like universal messages, while also burning away any untruths, and so so burning away the lies, so the truths can come through. And in the sign of Leo, like that's really speaking our truth. And I mentioned before, I think in the last video, where higher frequencies are connected to truth telling, and so the more of us who are sharing our truth and putting ourselves out there, the higher the frequencies, the higher Earth is reaching these frequencies. And it's also affecting the Sun, which I believe is contributing to all these like solar flares. There's just been a lot of solar activity going on. It's like a very active solar weather pattern, which can affect us physically. You know, we can be wired and tired at the same time in the same day, like hours, 10 hours, 12 hours of sleeping, and then, the next night, like, you're up until the sun comes up, like, just very erratic sleep patterns. But if you need to, like, take that sleep, and if you can, wake up slowly and remember your dreams and write them down. Like, there can be a lot of messages coming through in the dreams right now. But yeah, I think I was kind of all over the place, so I do apologize if it wasn't linear, but I've never been one to like be able to follow a script very naturally, but I hope it made sense, and I hope it was helpful. So anybody with mutable placements, Pisces, Virgo, Gemini, Sagittarius, this can be very destabilizing. But I think, like, we're used to wobbling in those kind of ways, and it's our friends or family or people around us who might have more fixed energy that could be, a little more on edge. And so we have to use a lot of grace and stay flexible, stay positive. Like, I know it's hard to always stay stay in that energy all the time, but it's kind of like this test of holding that space, holding energy to not bring the energy down, because that's what they want. They want us to get pissed off and angry and use our energy to create this fear, to perpetuate this fear-mongering status that's only benefiting them, because that just makes us more dependent on them. And then they can like wave their carrot and pretty much get us to do whatever they want us to do, like unwittingly. So we have to use our discernment, clean our energy bodies, so that we don't have to rely on them anymore.